All right, so now your pages are all attached together. Okay, so your next step, you can totally choose which way you would rather do this. You can either add red line tape to the whole back of this and attach it on top of your binding piece. Like this first. Okay? Sorry, it's my phone. So attach it to the binding system first and then put the binding system on the spine, or you could put the spine, the binding part down on the spine first and then add this. So whichever way you feel would be easier for you. The spine part is just going to adhere just on these back two pieces, and then we're going to add some brads to and some extra stuff. We'll do some other things to it to reinforce it, but for now it's just going to be these two sections that will adhere. Again, I'm going to use the red line tape. So I'm going to do a few strips here. Okay, so I've got my red line tape on those two sections, okay, and then I've also put red line tape all over the back side of my pages, okay. So I'm going to put the pages onto the binding first, and then I'm going to put it into the album. If you prefer to do it the other way, that's fine. I find this way a little easier. Okay, so I'm going to remove all the backing. Okay, now this stuff, if you are using red line tape, it is really tacky. You're probably going to only have one chance at this, as scary as that can be. So try to be really careful when you are attaching it to the spine, or not to the spine, to the binding part. Okay, last little bit. Okay, so alright, I apologize in advance if my head gets in the way. I might have to kind of get right over top of it. My way of doing it is kind of going from one side and then working my way across, but I want to make sure I get it right the first time, so. Okay, so there it is. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see, but it is on there. Alright, so the next step is we want to make sure that the pages are really secure onto there. I mean, the red line tape is amazing, but I feel you can never get enough security. You want to make sure this is going to last forever. So I am going to take my Crop-A-Dile. Oh, wait, first, I've done this already. I've put some patterned paper in between each of the pages. Okay, you don't have to do that. It's a design choice, but I think it really finishes off the album really nicely. So now I'm going to take my Crop-A-Dile. If you don't have a Crop-A-Dile, just use some kind of hole punch, just poke a hole. So I'm going to go down 1 inch and punch a hole in between each of the pages. and put a brad. And I'm going to do it at both the top and the bottom. Okay, so I've got holes. You see it, there's a hole right there. And like every page has one about an inch down. Okay, so now I'm going to put brads in each of those holes, and then I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. I think I'm going to go with the brassy color. Okay. And I mean, you probably, this is probably like, it's extra. I just really want my albums to stand the test of time, so I do everything I can think of to help ensure that will happen. I always use acid-free papers, acid-free adhesives. You want to make sure that everything is going to last as long as possible. Okay, so once you've got your brads there we go, there's all the brad tines there. So now we're going to flip the whole thing over and do the same thing on the bottom side. Well, hello, Zuri. Okay, so now we're going to put brads through all of those. And the last one. Okay, so now we've got the brads on the top and the bottom. I like to cover the brads with a little bit of score tape. Or honestly, even some oh no, let's use score tape. Oops, come here. And then we're going to cover the whole back part here with a piece of cardstock as well. Okay, push that down. Okay, so score tape covering the tines of those brads, and then I've cut a piece of paper, a piece of cardstock that is the same, or just shy of the, so 3 3/4 inches by 10 inches to cover over top of that. Okay, I've got red line tape on the outside, and then I filled it in with score tape. So I'm going to remove all the tape backing from all of that and put it down. Okay, so I've got all my tape backing off. Now I'm going to carefully adhere this, covering all those tines. Okay, now we can add this whole thing into our album. Okay, so bring in your cover. Okay, oh, now before we do this, I wanted to clear something up. I think when I was putting the cover together, I said to have the 3 3/4 inch side section on the right hand side, but I was wrong. It should be on the left hand side, because you want it to go over top. So this is the way it will close. So you want this going over top of the 4. So I mean, right now it's no problem because you've constructed it this way. So before you add your pages, just flip that around so that the 3 3/4 inch part is on the left hand side. If you've already put your pages in and you didn't do that, it's certainly not the end of the world. You'll just have a different one on top. It's not a huge deal at all, but it's just the way I like to do it. I just think it looks better. Okay. All right, so now we are going to remove the backing from the red line tape here and put our album pages right in here, and it is a perfect fit. So yeah, again, you're going to have to be very careful. We are going to be adding some paper underneath here, so don't worry if you can see a little bit of the chipboard. I am going to do one side and then the other side, just so to make sure that I get it straight and right and everything, so there is not really a do-over. I've learned that. Okay, so pardon me again if my head gets in the way. I want to make sure I'm centered up and down. Make sure you can still fold this up. Okay, there's one half. Now I'm going to do the other half. Okay, get those all out of the way, and now adhere this half down. Make sure this still folds. It's almost. Okay, we're good. Excellent. And now, one last step before we start decorating the cover. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the pages. I'm going to use my crocodile and make a hole through that section that we just adhered and the chipboard right through the spine here, and add a couple more brads. And I recommend using longer brads. Let's see if these will work or not. Yeah, they're long enough. Okay. Okay, so one there. And another one here. Okay, so I'm going to try and lift it up so you can see better what I'm doing. So, oh my gosh. So right in there, can you see them? There's one. There we go. Alright, and then we're going to flip it over and do the same thing. And then again, we're going to add another piece of paper against the back of the spine to cover up the brads and cover up the cover up the chipboard, all of it. Oh, I made the wrong size holes. Oops. Is that gonna work? Oh yeah, we're still okay. Okay, so looking at it from the spine, you've got 2 tines there and 2 right there. So we're gonna put some score tape covering them on this side. Okay, so we've got score tape covering those now, and now we will cut another piece of cardstock that measures 10 3/4 by 3 3/4, and we're going to slide it down against the back of the spine, okay, right there, to cover up the brads that we just put in and cover up this chipboard. Okay, so I'm going to remove all my tape backing and slide that down. Okay, now try to make sure it doesn't adhere before you want it to, so slide it down carefully. Oh, no, no, no. Like I said. Get it down there. And then let it adhere. Flip it over. Kind of push it down with your hand. Okay, so now you can't see any of that. Alright, flip it right side up again, and now we can start to add our pattern paper to the cover and start getting our closures and everything happening. Okay, so first we're going to start with the back of the album. Okay, so I'm just doing a plain blue on the back of the album. Okay, so I'm just going to adhere that, and then we can get our closure happening. Okay. Alright, so that's the back. Now what we want is we're going to put an eyelet here and have an elastic coming through it and coming over and attaching to a hooking over a knob here. Okay, so we can put this piece on as well. I've got pink for this piece. So I'm going to put the pink on, and then we can get our closure. Okay, fabulous. Okay, so you need something, the elastic is going to come from the back and you want it to hook onto something. It sticks out quite a bit, this particular thing, but it's a little acorn. It's from Frima Marketing, Frank Garcia collection, and I just thought because it was an acorn it kind of went with the whole theme of the album. So I am going to kind of figure out where I want that and punch a hole somewhere around the middle. And it's unfortunate that the crocodile only goes an inch, because it's really frustrating when you want to go further in than an inch. So 11, so I want to go 5 by 5 is the center. And then this way. So just before the 2. Okay, so that's dead center, so make a mark in the center. That's where you want to cut your hole. So I'm just doing it with a pair of sharp scissors, and I'm just going to twist it back and forth until I get a hole. It's not going to be the prettiest hole, but that's okay because it's going to be covered. Okay, there we go. I've got a hole. And now I'm going to put this in the back side. I'll do the hole both ways. Okay, so I'm just putting the back of the, it's like a screw kind of thing, so I'm just going to kind of screw it in. Just going to use a pair of pliers. If you have a screwdriver, that would work even better. This is just handier. Okay, there we go. Took a little effort, but it is on. Now, if you don't want something that sticks out that much, you can use a different, what do you call it? Knob. There's all kinds of different knobs you can use. Okay, so now we are going to get that piece on the back. So put your elastic that you're using there and kind of stretch it so that you know where on the back you want your rivet, or your eyelet to go, I should say. And then make a mark so you know, so you got it straight and right about there. Okay, so I know where I want to make that mark. Now again, punch a hole. Alright, and this time we're going to put an eyelet, one of these guys, through that hole. Because my chipboard is so thick, I'm going to try and cut off a little bit of the extra that punching the hole created. Try and almost dig it out a little bit. There we go. Now we can actually see the hole. Fabulous. Okay. So now that you can see the hole all the way through, put your eyelet in. My chipboard's almost too thick to be able to do this. Okay, and now, because our crocodile won't reach in here, I'm using an eyelet setter. So it's got, hard to see. It's got like a little ball head. So anything that has like a ball head, just kind of put it into the center. And then, sorry, this is going to be loud. Okay, so once you have your eyelet in place, you want to take your elastic band and put it through that eyelet, which sometimes can take a little finesse. Okay, so once you have it through, on the other side, take a piece of wire, a paper clip, something of that nature, and just put the elastic band through the paper clip. Okay, so once you have it attached to the paper clip, just pull it taut, and then we're going to put some score tape over top of this paper clip so it doesn't move. You can use anything that's going to attach to the elastic but not be able to go back through that hole. Now there will be a little bit of a bump, but you can cover that up with some fancy embellishment or put a pocket there or do whatever you desire. Okay, so now you have that. So now when we close up our book, the elastic goes over top like that. Now we can add our pattern paper to the front cover. So this was my favorite piece, so I'm using this pattern. So we'll put that on. Make sure that you've got it right side up and everything. You don't want the main part of the cover of the album to be upside down or anything. Okay, so there is that. Now you'll just want to put some pattern paper on the inside covers. Feel free to add, you know, an extra pocket or extra something or other if you so desire. I haven't cut those pieces yet, so I'm going to quickly cut those and I'll be right back. Okay, so once you have your inside cover pieces on, you just need to put some strips of paper on the binding part of it, and that's about it. You're pretty much done. All you need to do is add any other embellishments that you're planning to add, put some tags in the pockets, that sort of thing. And hooray! You've just completed the Flutter mini album tutorial. Congratulations! You did a great job. That's all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed crafting with me, and if you have any questions, oh, I just dumped all my brads. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. I answer all my questions, everyone's questions, and yeah, I'm just gonna finish embellishing things, and that's all there is to it. Woohoo! Big hugs, guys. Thank you so much.